Hello there, we're back with the bricks today, and it's 40578, which was the free giveaway, sandwich shop drive-through. It looks a really neat little set, Lego City, 2 minifigures and some of those new road pieces. Well, the crayon table is back out, so let's get building. In typical fashion, this free set came with one of these, which I just ordered. But honestly, it is good to see that all these new Lego City sets are getting a section of these new modular roads, which is great for the young new collectors that are going to get a small selection of road every time they buy a set, which will soon add up to expand their cities. Just 3 small bags with this set and a couple of those large base plates. Really basic building techniques on this set, it's all pretty straightforward, studs up. Even this tiny hand could help me. And there we are, all complete. Well, a couple of stickers, but complete. For a small set, it's got some great little details, a couple of these stickered menu boards, plenty of accessories for the minifigures, and the advantage to having these micro sandwich builds is the spare pieces amount to an extra sandwich. I am beginning to hoard these pieces though, with every section of that road. 2 minifigures like I said, with the green bike, plenty of accessories, a mobile phone, a couple of sandwiches, and I do like the fact that both characters are reasonably generic. A quick look at the back of the minifigures, and I guess the only disadvantage with only having the 2 minifigures is, does this lady work here? Or is she just a customer here? But as it's a gift with purchase, I don't think we could be demanding more minifigures. I'm not too sure how I feel about those exposed studs on the back of his box, but I think it'd be too long if you covered them with a tile. The best part of the build though, is probably the giant sandwich. But we've got a bigger green space to be dealing with today. Last time our new layout allowed more space for the park, so I've taken off the back and expanded it out, and we're just tidying the edges. I still wanted to include a bit of elevation change throughout the park, so this wall climbs to the back corner like it did before. And I had to stack a ton of 1x1 plates because I couldn't find any 1x1 bricks. First we're going to drop in that new elevation change, adding a ton of plates to build up our layers. I wanted to keep the light green as the lawn in the centre of the green, and then I used the darker green to create beds around the edge. Apologies for the shadows, I forgot to turn all the lights on. You may also notice I've dropped in the arrival party with Harry Potter in front of Grimmauld Place. I just couldn't really wait, and I was hoping to get this park done so we can see that final scene. Nothing will quite be final yet, because we're still waiting for bricks and pieces orders, but that seems to be the process, having a number of overlapping projects, one beginning as you wait for parts for the other to end. I also build in physical brick rather than digital designers, so most of my projects get restarted and restarted until they find the final optimal versions. Right, that's most of those plate layers done now. You can see we've got some good angles on the bedding around the edge and a large green in the centre. Next up, you'll remember I wasn't too impressed with my tree, so I've revised that a few times, and I've actually stolen a number of designs from previous Harry Potter sets to create a new custom tree that fits the space better and adds a few more angles to the leaf pieces. It's still not my forte, building plant life, but this way I've got some snot bricks, putting some leaves sideways, and I also used one of those sausage type pieces from the Grimmauld set to angle a couple of the branches further at the top in a 45 degree. There you are, there's our new root system. And quick jump to the top. It's not perfect, but it's much better. Time to add a bunch more of those flowers around the edges and a few of those small Lego bushes. I actually need to go digging for some more flower heads. I seem to have far more stems than flower heads. close to complete now. Just need to get that bench back in. Here we are, perfect, just in front of the flowers. Let's take a look at the final product. And there we are, a little bit brighter too. There you can see the characters just beyond the gate. The flower beds look pretty. The tree is definitely a bit more fleshed out, although I'll never quite perfect how to make a tree with Lego. I think the gradient across the park looks pretty good, and it's definitely ready for some scenes now. It also really brightens up the whole square. Let's just spin around and take a look through the front of the park. It looks quite good through the fence line, and actually those flower beds do look pretty colourful. And here you have it. Here's our troupe arriving on the edge of the park, and this next guy has almost got lost in the size of our new enlarged square, and this might be my favourite, an overview from the top. But we're not finished there. Cleared a bit of space on the desk, because last time we didn't get a chance to get the leaky cauldron onto its plate base, so everything was a little askew in terms of levels. So I've gone ahead and got those bases out, whacked in the 2 plate layers under the 16x16 plates, and we just need to transfer the build over to the new base. However, nothing's ever as quite as simple as it seems. I can't help but look at these 4 studs at the front of this build and wonder if there's a better way to utilise them. Originally, I kept this gap in front of the build so that wherever it went in a layout, you could still see the fascia of the leaky cauldron, even if it was right up against something else. But now, having started to put the layout together, I realised that the space we've got means this will be the front edge of the layout, so there's not necessarily a need for those extra 4 studs. The question then is, where do I utilise them, and can they be used to expand another part of the build where we were definitely struggling for space? And as we were struggling for space all over this mark, I can think of a few places we might want to gain some space. So if the pavement comes to the very front of this edge, we could add some space into the main bar. We do have to be wary of the roof to make sure the train still lands in the right place, but it could be an opportunity to gain that alcove section on the right hand side of the bar. Alternatively, our courtyard scene is very much squished, and the front bar itself only squeezes a small table. When we put the buildings together though, I always did have a concern that this opening between Weasley's Wizarding Wheezes and the courtyard was definitely too tight, and looking at it now, it's definitely too dark. Even if I adjust it and get the light straight in there, you can see it's barely functional. Had been a sacrifice I was willing to make to keep the density of the build, but even levelling up the heights, it does definitely look a little bit too squished. But if we do go ahead and slide the whole build forwards 4 studs, just so it lines up to the very edge of that plate, you can immediately see we've now got a lot more light and a lot more alignment with the courtyard and Weasley's Wizarding Wheezes. There is one problem now left. This is not a simple transfer onto a new base plate job, so we're going to have to move on to version 53 of the leaky cauldron to accommodate this new layout adjustment. And I'm afraid that means we haven't got time to do it today. So I guess I'll see you on the next one.